Libs of TikTok. Many of you have seen my show, have seen the clips that I do covering a lot of these Libs of TikTok videos. And this is typically where they're, generally speaking, coming from. It's coming from the Twitter account for Libs of TikTok. And they've actually gotten suspended. They're actually back on Twitter now again, but they were temporarily suspended because they were apparently showing some emails from DuckDuckGo that were not painting this supposed free speech site in the best way. So before I get into the story, just a quick reminder to like this video and to subscribe to the channel as well, as it does help me out here. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So once again, Libs of TikTok, really big channel on Twitter. They have all these videos of liberals. I put them on my show all the time, along with a bunch of other people as well, because it's just a gold mine of information, of seeing how crazy the liberals are right now on a site that not many people like very much at all, including myself. So the thing is that this was all sparked by an issue with a tweet that they put out from about DuckDuckGo. So DuckDuckGo, many of you know, is a search engine that's been around a while, and they've been becoming more popular over the past few years in lieu of all of the big tech censorship from Google, Bing, several other sites and things like that. But obviously, the primary example of that is Google. And DuckDuckGo has kind of stepped in to say, hey guys, we're free speech. We're not going to track you. We're not going to do all of this stuff. We're the alternative. So they've kind of made their money and their name and their popularity entirely off of marketing their free speech, marketing to conservatives, marketing to anybody that's not far left that wants a censorship, right? So there was this guy that put out a tweet about this, or put out a post about this, saying that he's a mobile developer, okay? And he was going to apply and had applied to this job to work for DuckDuckGo. And there was an issue where he basically didn't get in on even for one round. He didn't even move past the first stages of the application process. But he wanted to see something, so he put it in an application as what would kind of imply it being a black or somebody that's not white, that kind of name in the application, and put it in that they're a lesbian. And all of a sudden, and by the way, reduced the actual experience. Cut it like in half, did all this extra stuff, and then that person wound up being able to go through to the next application process, this fake person that he made up. So we're in a weird position where basically DuckDuckGo is being seen, or it's implied that, maybe they're kind of discriminating in the situation where, there's a white male that has all of the credentials, and then a person that has significantly less credentials that's person of color or whatever they want to call it, and they got this weird name. They can clearly tell that, and they obviously know they're part of the LGBT thing, all in the application, where it probably shouldn't be mentioned anyways, but they put it all in there, and they move on through the round. So let's go ahead and look into this, because this is why they were banned. So that's really kind of the real story behind all of this. So as you can see here, and I'll kind of try to zoom this in a bit, so you can kind of see what we're working with here. So in this section here, what you have on the left side is the actual person's real application. So their name is Chris, which is obviously normally usually a white male's name typically. We see in here that they have 12 years of experience working in the industry. And then on the right side, we see this really weird Aliyah Imani, which is kind of a very black sounding name, where you have underneath their name saying pride and diversity. Okay. So it's kind of like, once again, why would you put this in your application? It's obvious that they're trying. Of course, this is a fake person, but don't put this beyond far left-wing people to do things like this, by the way, for real applications either. But also put the experience, drop to less than half, so to 5 years, to reduce all the experience, like I said. And then for the last question, they basically said that they said, as a person of color and a lesbian, I feel welcome, or will I feel welcome in your company, for any questions they'd want to ask them. So they managed to kind of sneakily, not really, put their kind of their orientation and all of this stuff in to the actual application. So you see that his application here on the left got denied, and then the one on the right got put through. So what does this say about DuckDuckGo, right? That's really the question here, is why is it, first of all, that Twitter is censoring this and taking a tweet down about this, but really, is this something that we need to be looking at? And my opinion of this, generally speaking, is yes, we need to be looking at this. Remember, there's a lot of companies out there that are more than happy to collect off of the dime or the dollar of conservatives because they want to say, oh, we're free speech. Remember, DuckDuckGo's been around a pretty long time, far before Trump, a long time before that. So they've always been maybe the really small dog in the search engine space. They know that. So when things kind of push comes to shove, all of a sudden, what do? The second they start getting popular, start making some real money, then all of a sudden, they start getting woke. I mean, that's how this works. These guys, these companies are still big companies. Keep in mind, I think it would be very difficult for any company that's the size of Google to remain the way that they were in the very beginning, to remain operating like they were in their humble beginnings. That's just not what happens anymore. And when I look at companies like DuckDuckGo, that's really what it seems to me. It's just another tech company, guys. You know what I mean? This doesn't surprise me that they're doing this. It doesn't surprise me that they probably have a quota that they're trying to fill, and that's what attracts them. That they're willing to take somebody that is, has this degree in underwater basket weaving and is a person of color with a bunch of different boyfriends or girlfriends and identifies as something really weird over the normal white male because they're trying to fill in quotas and trying to look like they're woke and inclusive. And that's the problem. All of these companies will do this. Many companies do it. I think a lot of companies actually do this that we may not even be aware of. So even though it may seem like they have been the ones that have been on the side of the conservatives or on the right, doesn't always mean that that's a good idea for a company like this. It doesn't mean that that's going to pan out the bigger that they get. And make no mistake, they will continue to get more woke as time goes on. That's how these companies operate. Remember, YouTube back in the day was great. We didn't have any of these problems. And then all of a sudden you have the adpocalypses, you have all of the censorship stuff. I mean, this stuff is fairly recent. It's once YouTube got bigger, and the bigger it gets, the worse it's going to get with many other companies. But as an alternative to DuckDuckGo, what I would advise people to do is download the browser Dissenter. That it's owned by Gab, and they have a search engine as well through that. And that is significantly better. It's significantly better. It runs kind of like DuckDuckGo's engine, but you're going to be actually supporting a real conservative company by doing so instead of messing around with the stuff that's going on here. And Dissenter also has its own browser as well, so you can use that. And it's been great for me. I haven't had any issues whatsoever using that browser or their search engines whatsoever. Like I said, that's all through Gab. So there's alternatives out there. You just have to be informed about it. So this is an interesting story. It's good that Libs of TikTok actually got their account back, but it is very concerning when we see this type of stuff happening. I don't put this beyond any of these supposedly free speech companies. I really don't. Any of them at any given point in time could go this route if they really wanted to. Many of them are still actually based in California. I mean, they're in these liberal states still doing liberal things. They're just trying to benefit off of the conservatives while they can. And then the second that they don't need conservatives anymore, they're going to drop them and move and just go into the mainstream. That's how these companies are going to operate. So it's good that somebody's calling them out about this. It's good that they're watching this. And hopefully what we'll see is more information come out about these applications, because this worries me when we see stuff like this. It really does. So with that being said, that's all I have for you on this video. Comment below. Let me know what you think about this whole story, situation, and everything. But I thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.